It's 2012, and there is a film that every aspiring indie dev has seen. Indie Game, the movie. I'm no exception, and I'm intrigued, because it gives me hope. There seems to be a small but thriving indie game dev scene, with fresh and wild concepts like Braid, or Fez, or Super Meat Boy. I really like the time-bending puzzles in Braid, and I love the deep world-building in Fez. The deadly circular saws in Super Meat Boy, not so much. I have to admit, I really want to play this game. I want to like it. I want to try it. I want to give it a chance, but I bounce off of it very dramatically. Sure, I'm clumsy with the controls. I don't know when to press shift and when to let go, and the wall jumps are my nemesis. It's not about motivation. I am motivated, but progress is slow. I try over and over again, but it doesn't help. The frustration bubbles up inside me, and after an endless half an hour, it's enough. I stop. And to this day, I never touched Super Meat Boy again. Let's take a leap into the present. I'm browsing YouTube, and there is this channel by You Snail. It's all about game dev, and I'm a sucker for channels like this, like GMTK or Adam Millard. Jonas is working on his new game You Snail, an indie project with an intriguing premise. It's a platformer with deadly traps, but the position of the traps is not fixed. They are spawned on demand by the evil AI called Squid, your opponent in the game. The game interpolates where you will go next, and then spawns a trap at the spot it thinks you will land on. It's a nice idea that piques my interest, but Jonas describes it as a Super Meat Boy-style precision platformer, and to be honest, that puts me off. My pathetic performance with Super Meat Boy pops up again, and I fear I know what's coming. This and this and this. A dust-dry experience of death and despair. Boy, am I wrong. My name is Marcel, and welcome to Hands-On Episode 3. We take a quick breath here and define the problem we have on our hands. Super Meat Boy as well as You Snail are difficult games. That's not a problem per se. Rather, the question I want to answer is, why do I lose my initial motivation? What piece of the puzzle is missing to convince people like me to take on the challenge? So, as always, pause the video here, think about it, and come back in a minute. The problem. Simply put, the problem is, I get bored. There exist people who are so good that they are feeling progress even in hard titles like Super Meat. And there are people who enjoy banging their head against the wall again and again. In short, there are folks who muster enough intrinsic motivation, especially because something is difficult. I don't belong to this category. So ask yourself, what can you do to get people like me on board without upsetting the hardcore players who are in it for a challenge? That's your job. Write your ideas into the comments, come back, and I will tell you what Jonas Tyroler did. Solution. The technique we will use today is rewarding failure. Now you might say, whoa. As long as I am the game designer, you have to earn your rewards with the sweat of your brow. But have a look at hard games like these. Even if you don't succeed, you have already sweated. So don't give players a hard time for having a hard time. The experience on the road to victory is much more important than victory itself. Fine. Let's look what Jonas Tyroler did. It's a masterful lesson in rewarding players for their endurance. So you have this AI called Squid, and it is front and center.
My name is Squid, and I'm the doom of humanity.
It is the focus of attention and accordingly treated with great devotion to detail. Squid is a real NPC, your opponent and sparring partner. And it does everything in its power to keep you entertained.
Just jump directly into the spikes, please. That was awesome. Do that again. I didn't quite see it. Okay, lol. One more time, please.
And that is the key. Squid's job is to hold the game together and keep you on your toes. The AI eases your pain in giving you context and content. You don't have time to get bored anymore. Squid engages you by talking to you non-stop. This would be terrible if it was built like an ordinary animatronic. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Greetings. Are you here for spirit tuning? Are you here for spirit tuning? Are you here for spirit tuning?
That means Squid has to be much more lifelike. And this is how Jonas did it. Uniqueness. The game is designed in a way that you have to play a level repeatedly to succeed. This means there is enough repetition built in. So to keep things fresh, Squid is strictly not allowed to repeat a voice line it has already spoken. It is incredible how lifelike an NPC can feel if it doesn't repeat itself.
Oh, you managed to figure it out. That's a bit disappointing.
Emotion. Squid is taunting. And it depends on your personality if you like it or not. I had a blast. But regardless if you like it or not, it evokes a strong emotional reaction in the player. And that is the point. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's rude, sometimes it's surprising. But it is always entertaining.
If you'd be so kind to kill yourself just one more time, please.
Context. Squid's reactions are triggered by carefully chosen events. If you die on your first step into a level, Squid will make fun of you just about that. If you die on a spike, it will brag about how cleverly it placed the trap. This encourages experimentation on your side, because you are curious what will it say if you fail for the 100th time. And the more ridiculous and gruesome your deaths become, it will react to it.
Congrats, that was your 10th death in this level.
Hints. Like a good James Bond villain, Squid explains his evil deeds and exactly how it wants to kill you. Sometimes it also gives you good tips how to play. For example, it explains how the conveyor belts work and it tells you how to restart a level.
Okay, I'll tell you how you can get past that.
Listening. The entire Squid part of the game requires a completely different skill set than the action parts. You just have to listen and understand. There are no obstacles when you are interacting with Squid. And the part of your brain that is specialized on pressing buttons very fast is put under no additional strain.
Not horrible for a first attempt.
Difficult. Squid can change the rules of the game in the blink of an eye. And it does. It will change the difficulty settings for you if it thinks the game is too hard or too easy for you. And it doesn't keep it secret. It announces, hey, I changed the difficulty. This is ingenious because a non-negligible part of players is hesitant to mess with difficulty. Some are too proud, some are too lazy, and some players have even forgotten that these settings exist in the first place.
I just reduced the game difficulty so we can move on at some point.
Story. You will find written dialogue sequences scattered around the world. These are telling the backstory. Squid's behavior and comments and reactions are tied to this lore. And every now and then, Squid interacts with this storyline and gives you a glimpse of what's to come. So yeah, we know this scenario. There is a story and you are curious how it will end. But because of your emotional attachment to Squid, this time it's personal. And this enhances your feelings and your excitement.
Look at all of these lines. Beautiful, isn't it?
I have listed a few interesting points. What do they have in common? They are all designed to add another layer to the game, to make the gruesome times of despair and slow progress worthwhile, to encourage experimentation and perseverance. In short, Jonas Turner put them in to make failure fun. There would be so much more to say about You Snail. It's a very nice game. It reminds me of solo indie dev classics from the golden era, like VVV by Terry Kavanagh or Thomas Was Alone by Mike Bithell. with snappy platforming, great haptic feedback, optional puzzles, and a ton of secrets. The game was released on March 9th, 2020 for consoles and PC, and I wholeheartedly recommend you play it. Summary. If you want to expand the audience for your difficult game, consider to reward mistakes and failure. There are thousands of ways to do it. Just keep in mind, death in video games is punishment enough. Make it interesting. That's it. Thank you for watching. Check out the other videos, like and subscribe. I'm Marcel, and I'm out.